Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're stepping in as your personal coach to distill Tony Robbins' incredibly dense psychological blueprint into a highly actionable guide for self-mastery. If you've ever felt, like you're operating at just a tiny fraction of your true potential, well, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to unpack the core mechanics of how to completely rewire your mind, body, and daily habits based on the groundbreaking concepts from Awaken the Giant Within. Okay, let's kick things off by recognizing a fundamental truth. Your life isn't shaped by your external conditions, but by the committed decisions you make in every single moment. We so often think it's our environment or our past that dictates our future, right? But true power comes from actively deciding what we want and then taking consistent action. And a real decision? That means literally cutting off any other possibility. And this entire framework, it isn't just nice-sounding theory. It comes directly from a system that took Tony Robbins himself from being a struggling, overweight janitor to a global leader who has empowered millions. He realized that to change his life, he had to take immediate control of his internal world first. It's really about designing a life of your own choosing, rather than just living by default. So here is our roadmap for awakening your giant. We'll be covering awakening your inner giant, pain, pleasure, and decisions, the 6 steps to neuroconditioning, hacking your master system, the 5 areas of mastery, and finally, we'll wrap up with the 10-day mental challenge. Let's jump right into section 1, awakening your inner giant. To achieve true personal power, you have to raise your standards. You must literally decide what you will no longer tolerate in your life. But here's the catch. Standards just aren't enough if your underlying beliefs are holding you back. Think of a belief like a tabletop. It's just an idea until it's supported by the legs of your past reference experiences. To shatter a limiting belief, you've got to ruthlessly question its validity and just knock those legs right out. Then you need to change your strategies by modeling successful people. Seriously, why reinvent the wheel? Find someone getting the exact results you want and copy their actions. Wrap all of this in the Japanese philosophy of kanni, constant and never-ending improvement, and you become absolutely unstoppable. Moving on to section 2, pain, pleasure, and decisions. There is such a stark contrast between average people and successful people here. Most of us just react. We procrastinate because taking action feels more painful in the moment than simply putting it off. We're driven by this fear of short-term discomfort. But highly successful people, they consciously leverage these twin forces. They intentionally link massive unbearable pain to their bad habits, like smoking or overeating, and link massive pleasure to empowering actions. If you aren't changing, it's simply because the pain of staying exactly the same isn't strong enough yet in your mind. All right, section 3, 6 steps to neuroconditioning. By utilizing these 6 steps of Neuro-Associative Conditioning, or NAC for short, you can finally break those paralyzing habits. Step 1 is clarity. Focus entirely on what you want, not what you fear. Step 2 is leverage. Make the change a physiological must, not just a should. Step 3 is probably my favorite, interrupt the pattern. If you overeat, do something totally unexpected, like standing up in a restaurant and shouting, "Pig!" to completely scramble your brain's automated sequence. Crazy, right? But it works. Step 4 gives your brain a healthy new alternative to get that pleasure. Step 5 conditions it through intense emotional repetition. And finally, Step 6 ensures it actually holds up under pressure. Now for section 4, hacking your master system. Think of your master system as your ultimate influence. It's essentially the filter through which the whole world passes before you react to it. It dictates whether you feel joy, anger, or frustration in literally any given moment. If 2 people experience the exact same failure, one might see it as the end of the road, while the other sees it as a stepping stone. That difference, it is entirely dictated by their master system. There are exactly 5 levers you can pull to hack this system and change your life. First, your emotional state, which is deeply tied to your physical physiology. So, change your posture, change your mood. Second, your habitual questions, which direct your focus. Third, your hierarchy of values acts as your compass. Are you moving toward success or just constantly moving away from rejection? Fourth, your beliefs and rules. So many people set up unconscious rules that make it incredibly hard to feel good and way too easy to feel bad. And fifth, past reference experiences inform all of this. By redefining these 5 elements, you can completely rewrite your reality. This brings us to a massive concept. What is the primary question you unconsciously ask yourself every single day? The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions. So if your primary question is, how do I avoid getting hurt? Or why does this always happen to me? Your brain will dutifully find answers that make you feel like a victim. You'll constantly miss out on opportunities for growth. But if you flip that to an empowering question like, what is great about this problem? Or how can I enjoy this process? You instantly shift your focus to finding solutions. Let's look at another incredibly simple but profoundly effective hack: transformational vocabulary. Intentionally changing the words and metaphors you use literally alters how you feel. If you constantly walk around saying you're depressed, your body adopts that heavy, slumped state. But if you downgrade that language to, say, I'm feeling a bit down, or I'm a bit concerned instead of I'm worried sick, you significantly lessen the emotional impact. On the flip side, upgrade your positive words. Don't just say you feel good, say you feel unstoppable. Next up, Section 5, the 5 areas of mastery. True self-mastery has to be holistic. I mean, you can't just be rich and miserable, right? You need emotional mastery to direct your internal state. You need physical mastery, because without your health, nothing else really matters. Relationship mastery is all about shifting your focus to what you can give to others rather than what you can extract from them. Financial mastery requires ditching that scarcity mindset and realizing that wealth comes from adding massive value to the world. And finally, you've got to master your time. When we talk about mastering time, we have to separate fulfilling long-term goals from the stressful, everyday urgencies that completely hijack our schedules. Strategy, health, and true personal growth happen in Quadrant 2. That's high importance, low urgency. But most people are trapped in Quadrant 1, constantly putting out fires. Or even worse, in Quadrants 3 and 4, just scrolling mindlessly. Mastering your time means obsessively protecting those Quadrant 2 activities. Which brings us to our final part. Section 6, the 10-day mental challenge. For the next 10 days, you must ruthlessly guard your mental focus. The rules for this challenge are simple, but believe me, they are not easy. You must refuse to dwell on unhelpful thoughts. If a negative thought enters your mind, you interrupt it immediately. You focus only on solutions and possibilities. Here's the kicker. If you slip up and wallow for more than 2 minutes, you literally have to start the entire 10 days completely over. Utilizing morning and evening power questions during this time will really force your brain to find empowering solutions and rewire your baseline state of being. So, the giant within you is awake. You've got the blueprint, and you know exactly how to pull the levers of pain and pleasure to your advantage. But the true test begins right now, today. Will you let life continue to just happen to you, reacting out of fear and short-term comfort? Or will you consciously decide your destiny and take absolute control? The choice is entirely yours.